Welcome to another episode of the Game of Inches Basketball News. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at 7 different news stories that have come out over the last 24 hours, and some of them are a little bit more aggregate in terms of big picture of the league, and we're going to also take a look at a couple individual games that were played last night. So with that being said, we're going to start with the Brooklyn Nets put up a franchise record with 91 points in just the first half last night against the Golden State Warriors. So, with that being said, DeMarcus, what do you think?
Man, it was a complete massacre out there last night. Brooklyn going up against Golden State. Of course, Golden State being without Steph Curry ball, so Brooklyn didn't have Kyrie. And Brooklyn was just on a mission last night. Need to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They had 9 players and they scored double digits last night, with KD leading the way with 23. Just an overall team effort by Brooklyn. And Golden State was they looked horrendous. I mean, they still had maybe 5 players over double digits, but I was checking Jordan Poole's stats. He was just having an off night last night, 1 for 11 from the 3 line, 4 for 17 overall with 7 turnovers. And if the Warriors want to try to get back into the playoff race, they really need to play better without Steph Curry. With Steph Curry being out and Klay Thompson also didn't play. But man, Nets just came out and rolled those guys. Go ahead, Kevin.
All right, so this is the Warriors' second night in a row that they were trailing by at least 40 points for most of the game. Maybe not at least, but near 40 points for most of the game. So the Warriors almost lost by 40. Towards the end, they started slimming down the margin of loss a little bit, and the score, they actually lost by 30, but the night before it was 38 points. So the Warriors are just on a terrible slide right now. But shout out to the Brooklyn Nets. They are on the exact opposite end. They are one of the hottest teams in the NBA right now. So this is what happens when a hot team meets a cold team. And it is pretty cool to see the Brooklyn Nets putting up a record like this, as it's a team record, which means everyone on the team is playing well, and it's just really fun to watch. So cool to see for basketball.
Yeah, and also just so that they're starting to click as a team now, because I think early in the season they was struggling a little bit, losing games, and now they actually finding their stride and everybody coming together. Playing well as a team. Also, I want to give a shout out to James Wiseman on the Warriors, scoring 30 points. Shot 12 for 14 from the field. He was pretty much the only one that was actually efficient. Him and Moses Moody.
I actually want to comment on both of what you just said really quick. James Wiseman has the worst net rating of any 7-footer in the league, so that's really cool to see him actually performing well when he gets more of an opportunity. And then the Brooklyn Nets are kind of an example of what the Lakers should have been this year. So the Brooklyn Nets over the offseason were able to fill the team with a whole bunch of shooters and role players around Kevin Durant and Kyrie. And that's what the Lakers were not able to do. Instead of doing that, they went after Russell Westbrook. So when you have 3 players that don't mesh very well with no role players, you get a Lakers situation. But if you're able to get those role players and shooters around the good players, then you have a full team and you have some good basketball. So I just wanted to point that out.
Also, I want to, maybe you know more about this, the plus minus in the basketball. Because James Wiseman, he has 30 points, 6 rebounds, but he's minus 12 on the plus minus scale or whatever. Shouldn't he be a plus something since I would say that was a good performance.
Plus and minus basically just measures how much your team is winning or losing while you're on the floor. So if you're playing 10 minutes and while you're on the floor for that 10 minutes, let's say your team goes on a 50-0 run, you'd be a plus 50 just because while you were on the floor, it was 50-0. But when you're off the floor, none of that counts. Yeah, so it's basically the team score while you're on the floor.
That is when I spot the whole team is negative except one person. Like he
Yeah,
only played like 5 minutes.
I think in James Wiseman's situation, that could probably be tracked back to his rebounding and defense. As
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's probably his defense.
yeah, probably more so defense, as this article is talking about a franchise record 91 points in a single half.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right, I think this is our time for this article, though. So, do you want to add anything before we move on?
Now, good. Still, shout out to James Wiseman. Hopefully, he can keep this going into the next game.
Yeah, I agree. He's a cool player. At some point, he will get it figured out, whether it be for the
Yeah,
Warriors or not.
probably on another team or something.
All
Oh,
right,
yeah, I'm done
and
with that one.
in this article, we're going to be taking a look at the rookie ladder, and more specifically, Paolo Banchero leads the rookie ladder as number one, and this was not the case for the beginning of the year. The beginning of the year, it was Benedict Mathurin. So, with that being said, DeMarcus, what do you think?
I mean, it's a good case for Paulo Banchero as far as like rookie of the year going. I believe that was earlier today. I seen somebody posted like a side by side of his rookie career with his rookie year and
With
LeBron's
LeBron.
rookie year, like the averages, and it was pretty much similar. So I believe this guy he has a bright future for the Orlando Magic, and it's crazy because Orlando always like they always get lucky with the bigs like Shaq, Dwight Howard, and now they got Banchero. So hopefully they can actually keep him and make him a franchise player, opposed to him like get some years under his belt, leading the Magic to the playoffs, and then probably leave for LA like Shaq and Dwight did. But I can see him winning Rookie of the Year, averaging 21 a game, and he is a nice player to watch. Hopefully the Magic could build around him and keep him as a cornerstone for the franchise.
Yeah, he is an awesome player. I was actually trying to find the graphic you were talking about. I did see that also. I could not find it. If you guys want to look, it was posted by a Twitter group called Stat Muse. So if you guys are interested, go check them out. They do some really good statistic stuff on Twitter. But you can see right here 21 points per game, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. So LeBron, his rookie year, had 20 points per game, 5 rebounds, and I think 3.5 assists. So, and the shooting numbers were similar also. So I think their shooting percentages were all within like 5%, whether that be field goal, free throw, or 3-point. So just to back up what you're saying, I think he is reminiscent of a LeBron James type of player. Except, I don't know. I think he's a better shooter than LeBron, even though his shooting percentages suggest they're pretty equal. But I don't know. I agree. He's going to be a hell of a talent for decades to come. I'm super excited to see his career.
Yeah, and also all they have to do is just build around him, and then like with them being so low in the standings, they probably get a good like top 5 maybe draft pick, so they could even bring in another young player to possibly develop around him, and then like as long as he stay like motivated and committed to working on his game, he could be the next force to be reckoned with in the East.
I think all the Magic are really missing right now is like a Rudy Gobert type of center that they can like run pick and rolls on the offense with, throw some lobs up to, and be that defensive anchor. Because right now you don't have a whole lot of defense. Like you have Wendell Carter Jr., who's one of the best rebounding bigs in the league, but he doesn't do a lot of defense. And he can score from mid-range too, so he would be a good backup center in my opinion, but if you can get someone like a Rudy Gobert to fill out the Magic's young roster, I think that would be awesome. What you were talking about, a new draft pick. So
Or maybe they can get him in a free agent. But what about Bobo? Maybe if he could bulk up a little bit, he could be that type.
nah, he's not a defender. That's why he never got playing time in Denver.
Uh,
Like,
Poor
even
thing.
though he's a really good offensive player, he's a terrible defensive. Maybe not terrible. He can block shots, but like consistent defense every play, not so much.
oh yeah, he's just not there.
Like he'll blow
Right.
by you, and sometimes he'll be able to use his long arms to block your layup after he gets blown by. But fact of the matter is he's still getting blown by, you know. So even if he's getting several blocks per game, he's also allowing several uncontested layups every game. So I don't know.
Gotta work that defensive footwork down.
I'm a big Bol fan. I got about 100 of his rookie cards, so I'm definitely rooting for him. But I'm gonna be honest, he's not a defender or a good on-ball defender yet. He's a good off-ball defender. His help side with his length is pretty nice. I'll give him that. All right, I think this is our time for this one. Is there anything you want to add, or are you ready to move on?
No, I'm ready to move on.
Sounds good. Let's do it. All right, in this one, we're going to be taking a look at a couple Hall of Fame nominees. So this is going to be being talked about during the All-Star break. So a couple of the headlines are Greg Popovich, Dirk Nowitzki, and Dwayne Wade. So with that being said, DeMarcus, what do you think?
Man, it's a great class having Nowitzki and Wade in. When I seen this, I didn't even know Pop retired. I thought he was still coaching.
He is.
But like, oh, is he?
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy, dude. Like, I didn't know you could get into the Hall while you still. I thought you had to retire first. But I mean, that'd be cool to see if I don't know if he's gonna retire after this year. But like, if he's in the Hall of Fame and he's still coaching, pretty sure he'd probably be like the first one to do that. But that'd be cool to see, like, being a rookie player coming in, like, yeah, I'm being coached by a Hall of Famer. But like, I like it as far as like Greg Popovich getting in. He's one of the greatest coaches. And then Wade and Nowitzki, them having that little rivalry. Even though it wasn't a rivalry, but still, like, Wade getting his first ring on Nowitzki, and then Nowitzki getting his first ring on Wade. My damn pronunciation is all messed up. So I mean, that's a pretty nice Hall of Fame class going in.
Yeah, I would agree. I think this is one of the best Hall of Fame classes we've seen in a while. Dirk Nowitzki is probably the best international player of all time, and Dwayne Wade is Dwayne Wade. And then Greg Popovich, in my opinion, is the best coach of all time. So I think this is a Hall of Fame class of Hall of Fame nominees. So I don't know. It's going to be exciting to see how all this plays out, but I think definitely these three names deserve it. And there's a couple others that I noticed down here. Tony Parker, Pau Gasol, both good players also, but not quite the names that are mentioned in the headline. So, like what you said, Dwayne Wade and Dirk Nowitzki, the Mavs and the Heat over that like 5-year stretch were definitely fun to watch playing against each other. So it would be really cool to see them make it into the Hall of Fame at the same time. And like you said, Greg Popovich making the Hall of Fame while he's still coaching. The GOAT.
Right.
The coach GOAT.
Right, he got to be the ghost of all ghosts now.
Yeah.
Like, he making new rules out there. Like, yeah, I'm getting in and I'm still coaching.
I mean, shit,
Like, it's well deserved.
he'll probably die on a basketball floor, like 90 years old.
For real. Right. Out there with his walker and stuff.
Yeah.
You gotta set the screen.
Who was that coach that threw a chair? He could be the one that throws his walker.
Right. Yeah, I can't remember that coach. I don't think it was Pat Riley.
No, it wasn't. I'm blocking on his name, but I remember he used to get all fucking like red in the face and shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He was a funny one. All right.
I think they
Did you have anything you want to add on this one, or do you want to move on to the next one?
Oh no, I was going to say they also mentioned Chauncey Billups as far as
really?
like could get in.
Yeah, I think he's
But
in
I'm pretty sure
the.
those guys might get in next year if they'll make it this year.
Yeah, probably need a weaker Hall of Fame class.
Yeah, because I mean you got Wade and Nowitzki and Pop.
Yeah, I think
I
Powell
mean,
gets
I even
in
make the case for
before them.
Parker too.
Yeah, Parker has like what, 5 championships?
Yeah, he got 5 rings, and he was pivotal for them winning those 5 rings also.
He was the number 2 on that team.
Yeah, I like watching him play. Him
Yeah.
and Manu Ginobili.
He's the equivalent of Anthony Davis on the Lakers.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You know, like, or in the fucking Heat's case, he would be the equivalent of Dwayne Wade, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, man.
I trust Parker more than Anthony Davis, though.
When it comes to showing up on the court, but when it comes to like actual talent, that's kind of my point. Is like the Spurs were consistent. You know, they didn't have like a
Mm-hmm.
super team, but they were winning championships every other year.
It's because that coach, he
Yeah,
knew how to coach.
Greg Popovich, man,
And they
Hall of Fame, the
see
goat.
that's yeah, that's why when you have a great coach and then you have players that listens to the coach and don't go out there and try to do what they want to do. And that's what the Spurs team was all about. Like I'm gonna tell you to play, tell you where you need to be. You go out there, you execute, and we're gonna score.
Have you heard the Ace
And
Hood song called Popovich?
uh
You should check that song out. They play a sound bite of Popovich at the end, and he's talking
oh
about,
yeah,
yeah, it talks about what it takes to win games. And I think there's a quote. It's not as much about the plays you draw up; it's about how you get people to work together. If someone's lazy, how do you get him to put in the work that you want? If they're selfish, how do you get
hmm
them to play together? You know. So I don't
yeah,
know. I like the song. I like his quote. So I'm a huge Popovich fan. And that
yeah.
being said, I'm a Nuggets fan also. So they whooped our ass for a decade straight. So I shouldn't like this guy, but I do because he's fucking great.
It's
So
hard not to like them.
call it how I see it, even though he fucking ruined the Nuggets for a decade. So I think this is our time for the article. Is there anything you want to add, or do you want to move on?
Now we can move on.
All right. In the next article, the Knicks lose their 2025 second round pick over Jalen Brunson signing and some rules that were broken in the process. So, with that being said, DeMarcus, what do you think?
I mean, it was it's 2025, so it all depends on like what the Knicks, how the Knicks are performing in that year. Because if they perform poorly and they pick could end up being like a top five pick or like even a the first pick in the draft,
Second
then
round.
I would feel like oh they lost their second round pick.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't care about the second round. I mean, you do get
That's
like
Jokic. Ginobili.
yeah, right here and there you might get players that actually like turn into something in the second round, but that's very rare. You don't really hear it that often in the NBA as you would in the NFL. So the second round, I would say, it's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? As long as it's not the first round draft pick you lost. And I'm over my time. I'm gonna let you go, Kevin. I'll finish later.
All right. Basically, you're saying everything I want to say before I have a chance to say it. So, 2025, second round pick, not a huge deal. It's not a deal breaker, you know. But it is something that they could use as a trade filler, potentially, if they want to do some big trades around the offseason. They have a whole bunch of different opportunities that are available with that. So, that might have been like a little, kind of like a stocking stuffer in a trade. But I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it's more just something that the NBA can publicize to show that they are cracking down on these teams breaking the rules, you know, or of a media PR stunt. The chances of you getting a Jokic in the second round are very low. So, probably not going to be a huge deal. And even if there is a Jokic in this draft in the second round, the chances are there's 30 other teams, so you still have a 1 in 30 chance of being the one that picks a diamond in the rough in the second round, you know? So.
Yeah, and I was going to say the same thing. Like, they probably was going to trade that pick anyway. So, like, when they lost it, I'm pretty sure they was in the office like, well, it doesn't matter. We was going to trade it away anyway. But yeah, like, that pick isn't that valuable to where they're going to lose sleep over it.
I'd rather have Jalen Brunson than 25 second round
Yeah,
pick.
so,
So
right.
I still think they're
That's kind
coming
of
out
a
on
bet,
top.
trying to bet on a draft pick that might not pan out for them.
Jalen Brunson's panning out, so it worked out for the
Yeah.
Knicks.
hmm
The
Yeah,
NBA
so,
takes a L in this one.
Right. Yeah, so no big. Hey, just
You
go after
guys,
the first round pick next time.
yeah,
That's to know you're
suspend Jalen
serious.
Brunson for his career.
Right? Yeah, like suspend him for the season.
That'd be fucked up. The
I'm gonna take
franchise
him.
breaks some rules, and next thing you know, the player is fucking suspended for like 5 years.
Right?
Like, what the
Fucking
fuck just happened?
suspend RJ Berry. He's not even involved in it.
I
What
could
did
see
I
some
do?
shit like that happening.
Right?
Or, like,
I just,
suspend his pay and then give it to the refs instead. I
I
could
can
see
see
the
the
NBA
NFL
pulling
doing
that.
something like that.
Yeah, that would be an NFL. I could see the
Right?
NBA doing it, but even more the NFL.
Yeah, your owner broke the rules, so we're going to suspend like your entire O line. I see you run the ball now.
And the refs get a raise every time they call a penalty on you
Right? Every flag thrown, extra 25K in their bank account.
guys. For real.
That'd be the most penalized game
I feel like they'd be like doing some weird shit like that behind the scenes.
for the refs.
Or like the refs in the NBA, like it's some like unspoken rule, like you get like a bonus for like
Oh
calling
yeah,
a fucking flagrant on DeMarcus Cousins or something,
that's
like
probably why they be doing that shit.
you get an extra $5,000 for every technical you throw on DeMarcus Cousins. We're
Right?
gonna
Like they
ruin
clapping
his
their hands,
career.
clapping their hands, fucking tech.
Yeah, I mean, like I feel like the NBA tries to like get like the LeBrons and like all the well-spoken people as the star players so that they can throw them in interviews and make a whole bunch of media PR stuff about it. So when you get DeMarcus Cousins up there in his interviews talking about how he wants to start fucking up like NBA reporters and trying to fight the reporters and shit, like
Yeah, yeah.
bonuses to refs for ruining this guy's career, because that was really the demise of his career was the
Yeah. Well,
technicals and his attitude.
his
So
attitude too. Like he always had meltdowns on the bench or during games.
so
When he was in Sacramento, yeah, he had a poor attitude.
I don't know.
Like he
I
was
think
trying to be
that's
like
I don't see that as a poor attitude. Like
he was trying to be like a bully and stuff.
as long as you're not like bullying your team, like if you're fucking
Hmm.
starting shit with like other players, reporters, more power to you. So when you're out on the floor, it's like war out there. Like you're there to win a fucking game, so you should be passionate about it. He's one of my favorite players, and I like him because of his attitude.
I liked him because he was dominant when he was healthy.
I feel like he was dominant because of his attitude too. Kind of like Kobe was dominant because of his attitude. Like if you listen to Kobe talk,
Yeah, but
he
he talked
talks
trash
about
like everybody.
Kobe. Hell yeah, he did. Him and Mike were probably the
No,
Michael
but like
Jordan.
no, I'm talking about like how cousins used to. Like that man used to be angry as fuck.
So would Kobe though. Like he would
Like
literally,
Kobe would be like
yo,
he'd be mentally in your head.
look up a try to find a podcast where they interview his trainer. His trainer is named Tim Grover. If anyone listening has a
Hmm.
chance to go listen to Tim Grover speak, do it. He is
And then
incredible.
also Kobe was
But
the first of the league, so of course he can get away with that type of stuff.
no, I mean, like, it wasn't even him, it was his trainer. Like, when he started working with Tim Grover, it was Michael Jordan's
Hmm.
old trainer, too. So he was the same one that taught Michael how to do this. But he literally preaches you need to be able to use your dark energy efficiently. A lot of people refuse to use their dark energy, and it's at their own detriment because
Hmm.
it's like pure fucking adrenaline when you know how to fucking use it, you know? So Kobe would talk about his rage boiling over, and that later became what was known as the Mamba mentality. And that's
Yeah, but that's when he
literally,
got
yeah, it was born out of your ability to use your dark emotions effectively. So it's like,
hmm
that's DeMarcus Cousins, it's just, instead of fucking trying to, like rips another player's head off, he's going after reporters instead. So it's like showing up on the media. So I think that's the
so
difference.
he wasn't using his efficiently.
Yeah, he was just like, anyone in my way gets it.
He, he had to control him instead of controlling it.
Yeah, like Kobe, he would talk about being able to like unleash it on the court and be able to like bottle it back up. I think DeMarcus Cousins
Hmm
just like, until I'm like at home on my couch, like I'm in fucking game mode. And that goes for reporters too.
Ain't nobody safe.
But I don't know. I like him. He's a good player. Still is.
Yeah.
All right. This is definitely our time for this article. Is there anything you want to add?
Nah, that's all.
All right. Let's move on. All right. The next article. Ayo Dosunmu. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. So, Ayo putback off airball stuns Hawks. So basically, DeMar DeRozan shot a airball to his buzzer beater was an airball, and it went directly to Ayo, and he was able to tip it in, and it won the game for the Bulls. So, with that being said, DeMarcus, what do you think?
I mean, see, great win by the Bulls. You know, I'm from Chicago. I'm not really a Bulls fan, but I still root for the Bulls. I like them, and I like the team that they have. And it's just one of those right play at the right time type of, not right play, but being in the right place at the right time type of plays. Because he was down there, nobody boxed him out. It was two defenders, like right there by him. Nobody boxed him out, and the ball, like you said, it just came right to him. Like the basketball guys was on his side. You're going to be a hero tonight, my son. And he grabbed it. He didn't do the J.R. Smith. He grabbed it and went right back up with it instead of dribbling it out. So it was a smart play on his behalf to just go back up with it, not even caring if he get blocked or not. And one of those, you know, just what the coach says that, you know, he's a point guard too, so just going dive into the hole and just standing right there. And like it's good on DeMar DeRozan that he airball, because if it would have hit the rim, the game would have been over. His team wasn't going to be able to get that rebound.
All right. For all of you Denver people out there that follow Denver basketball really closely, this was exactly like the 2012 Colorado High School Championship between Arapahoe and Chaparral, when Corey, I forget his last name, but Chaparral put up an air ball, and Josh Adams was able to catch the air ball and tip it in mid-air to win the game over Arapahoe. So I don't know, it gave me feelings like that. So it was an incredible ending to the game. You rarely see this happen, so it was really cool to see. The thing that I thought was hilarious about this was after Ayo made the tip-in, he fell backwards on top of John Collins, and the whole Bulls team crowded around him, and everyone was just celebrating while he was laying on top of John Collins. They didn't even let him get up. Like, the whole Bulls team was just like, I don't know, like pretty much on top of John Collins after the buzzer beater. It was hilarious. So if you guys have a chance,
I've seen it. Like,
if you guys have a chance, look up the both Arapahoe versus Chaparral ending. That was one of the craziest endings of any game I've ever seen. 2012 Colorado High School champion. And then look up this one to see John Collins just get buried like he's a player that just got tackled on a football field. Like, that's what it reminded me.
No, I seen that. Like, damn, that got to be the worst. Like, your team lose and you got to be part of the celebration.
Right. Like, it was like a scrum in a football game, man.
Right. Like, bro, just let me get out of here. I don't want to be a part of this.
If I was John Collins, I would have started to, like, fucking elbowing people across the face. Like,
bro, it's going to be breaking news. John Collins traded to the Chicago Bulls.
Or like retiring after that.
Right. Fucking go down with a Hawks jersey on, come up with a Bulls jersey on.
Yeah. For real.
You know, I seen that. That was funny. I started laughing when I seen it.
Yeah, me too. I was like, oh, damn. They did him dirty. Yeah, I would be fucking pissed.
Yeah, they get back to the locker room. Hey, where's Collins? Oh, shit. I think we left him on the floor, coach.
Like, if I was a player, I would be referring to that moment after I dropped 50 points on the Bulls 10 years down the road. You know, like,
yeah.
You guys fucked me over 10 years ago. I would never forget that shit.
The reunion. Hey, remember that game winner you had on the Hawks, and then we celebrated with the Hawks player?
Yeah. You guys will pay for that for the rest of your franchise history. Yeah, I don't know. If I was a Hawks fan, man, I would let that turn this into a long-term rivalry. Just how disrespectful that shit was.
And it
So,
sucks because he could have grabbed a rebound because he was one of the players that was right there when the ball came to
yeah.
Ayo.
So he's
But
thinking
I
about
think
that on top of everything else.
right. Imagine that in film study. Now let's go to this play right here. Carlos.
What are
Get
you
closer
doing?
to Carlos. Now you see him. Now you don't. That's it.
Yeah, that shit's funny. I don't have a whole lot to add on top of that. I think you covered most of it at the beginning.
All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to take all the facts.
No, you're good. We are way over 5 minutes on all of them, so it doesn't matter at this
Uh,
point.
oh
Fuck
yeah.
it.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
No, that's good. More content for everyone. Hopefully, you guys like long content instead of little 5 minute bits. So,
Right.
fun to talk about at least, so I'm not tripping.
Yeah.
All
This
right.
was funny though.
Are you ready to move on to the next one?
Yes, sir.
All right, in the next one, we're going to be talking about Pascal Siakam scores 52 points as Raptors end the Knicks' 8-game winning streak. So, with that being said, DeMarcus, what do you think?
I mean, excuse my language, but effing great performance by Pascal Siakam, and then also I just don't know what it is about Madison Square Garden. Of course, it's like the mecca of basketball, but it seems like there's a lot of opposing players who just be having fantastic games in the Garden, and Siakam, he could add his name to that list. Like if he don't be a future Hall of Famer, at least he could be like he's going to be in that conversation when they like 10 years or 5 years later when they're talking about performances at the Garden. His performance is going to be up there with 52 points. Also, he said it broke the next 8-game winning streak. It also broke the little losing streak that the Raptors was on. So a much needed win by them and a great performance by Siakam, and happening in Madison Square Garden. So that has to be like one of those. I want to say like a double whammy, but like in a good way for Siakam. So
Yeah, so what you said about Madison Square Garden, he actually set a record as the highest scoring international player in a single game in Madison Square Garden. So he put up the highest score of any international player in that building in all of NBA history last night. So that was really cool to see. And it's a little bummer to see the Knicks end their winning streak, as I was really enjoying that. I'm not like a huge Knicks fan or anything, but just the way their franchise has gone over the last 20 years, you got to feel bad for them. So it's cool to see them actually putting together some wins. And I like their young squad. They got some good young players. So it was cool to see them put together such a big winning streak, but it's also cool to see the Raptors playing as well as they did last night in the close win, and Pascal Siakam more specifically. I think the Raptors actually match up against the Knicks really well, also, now that we're thinking about it. Like, Scotty Barnes and Pascal Siakam can probably guard Julius Randle really well. They got some really good defensive guards, too. So, I think probably the Raptors are going to be the Knicks' Achilles heel this season.
for like the East or for the Knicks.
Yeah, I think
You,
I don't know. I think the Knicks are gonna have some big trades come trade deadline. I don't know. They're one of the
you think
teams I
so?
think the highest probability. Yeah, just because
But they performing well. I don't.
they're not putting it together as a team though. You know, it's like all their players would make really good like second stars, but none of them are like the number one star. You know, like if you paired
Yeah.
I don't know, R.J.
Well,
Barrett
I
next to
appreciate.
like a Jokic, you know, I think R.J. Barrett would be a lot better, you know. But if you pair him next to a Julius Randle, they don't really like play off each other quite as well, you know. If
Uh,
that makes sense.
so yeah, something like how I guess like with Andrew Wiggins, how they wanted him to
Yeah,
be the star in Minnesota, but then when he went to the Warriors, he was better as like the role player and stuff.
and maybe not even as a role player. I think a lot of their players could be like the number two option. I just don't think they have that number one option. So if they can trade like
Yeah, like
two
that
number
go-to guy.
twos to get a number one, like Brunson and like Barrett or someone. I don't know. Just that's not a good example, but let's just use it. Them two for like a DeMar DeRozan or Karl Anthony Towns to get that number one option that can just like score at will. I think that would be something. Maybe not DeMar DeRozan because he's old, but you get the point.
I mean, they still got them. But I'm pretty sure they're going to trade Cam Reddish because it was like we spoke about this like a week or so ago. How Cam Reddish they trying to look to move him, so we could see him being like traded, and maybe Evan Fournier.
For sure, Cam Reddish is going to get moved. I think that's like, I don't know. I don't think he's going to be the headline of the trade, though. I think he's going to be like a filler piece.
No, yeah.
Maybe get rid of Cam Reddish and one of their number two options, like either Jalen Brunson, R.J. Barrett, or Julius Randle. If they can get rid of one of those players along with Reddish to bring in a bigger name, I think that would be well worth it for them. As long as it meshes like team chemistry wise.
Yeah.
Because
we'll see come trade deadline. Should I be shocked though?
I don't know. I think they need to make it happen, especially after what happened over the offseason, missing out on Donovan Mitchell. Like, they owe their franchise a star player.
Yeah, that's down. They should have grabbed them when they had the chance.
They really should. And it's like the last star player they had was Melo, and he just fucking blew it out there,
Yeah. I'm just going to say this real quick. I know we're over our time. Like, I still remember when Amari, he signed there before Melo got traded to them, I think. And Amari, he was just going off, like his first maybe 5 or 10 games with the Knicks. And then I believe he either got hurt or, like, I know when Melo got traded to the Knicks, like, Amari was never the same. Like, he wasn't having those big games he was when he had with the Knicks when he first got there.
Just think about it.
And then after that, it just went downhill.
Melo has the ball in his hands all the time as a forward. So think about it. The ball is in the post most of the time. And Amari Stoudemire, he's a post player. So it's like a
post player, yeah.
Trying to operate from post to post unless you're running a triangle. I think that's why they brought in Phil Jackson, actually, now that I think about it. Because you need to run a triangle-style offense to be able to utilize a double post. And Melo was just absolutely against the triangle offense. If you guys look up, they still have a beef to this day. Melo and Phil Jackson are still taking shots at each other regarding the inability to run that offense.
I also believe Melo, at that time, he was uncoachable as far as he had an ego about him. Because even when he got traded to OKC, he didn't want to come off the bench instead of just accepting the role. Like, maybe I help my team out more if I come off the bench. So I think he didn't even want to do the triangle when they brought the triangle to him.
Oh, no.
Trying to bring it into New York. He didn't want to do it. And I think him and George Karl even had issues when he was in Denver. So I feel like Melo kind of like, he messed up a lot of chances for himself to be successful, like in the team aspect as far as like winning championships, just because he wanted to be quote unquote selfish, like he wanted to do things his way.
Yeah, he always wanted the ball. He never wanted to play team basketball. So, but his problem in Denver was more so after they traded Iverson. If you listen to any of his interviews, he will consistently bring that up.
Oh yeah.
Like,
well, I mean,
his point.
Iverson was like nice. I like Iverson.
It was also Billups. Yeah, so they traded Iverson for Billups, and then after they got Billups, they made it to the Western Conference Finals, and then after they lost in the finals, they got rid of Billups, and they were going to start a rebuilding process, and that's what pissed Melo off. It was the combination of getting rid of Iverson and then rebuilding the year after they went to the Western Conference Finals. So that's what
that's like, dumb because
what are you guys thinking?
They had a good ass. They had a good ass team. Like I liked Denver back then. You had Nene, fucking Kenyon Martin, Melo,
the Thuggets,
young J.R. Smith. Yeah, young J.R. Smith, who at the time was knocking down shots and was athletic. Then either you could say Billups or even Iverson, because I like Billups in Denver too, and he was that leader that they needed, having won a championship already.
Yeah, I like them both. I like that squad a lot. Marcus Camby was another one too, and Earl Boykins.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. Yep.
Earl Boykin, did you remember the fight between the Nuggets and the Knicks? Where
No,
everyone got suspended? Melo was out
I
like
look,
20
I look at
games,
this.
and it was basically that's when Iverson got traded. But right before Iverson got traded, Earl Boykins was putting up like 30 points a game. The little 5'5" player. He was a
Yeah, no, I know
really
who
good
he is.
player. So I don't know. We had Andre Miller too. I don't know. That squad was
Yeah,
stacked.
it was a nice squad. Like the starters and bench. I forgot about Marcus Camby.
We would have won the championship, but it was Kobe. It was Kobe that knocked us out of the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like yeah, it was gonna be hard getting past Kobe.
I remember that
The
game. It was
champion Kobe.
literally Melo versus Kobe, and there was an
Wasn't that
inbound
like
pass.
'09?
I think it was somewhere between
That
'07 and
2009
'09.
season?
Yeah, I believe it was '09, but not 100%. So I don't know. That's it was a bummer to see. They should have won a championship and turned into a
Mm-hmm.
rebuild instead. So, but this is our time for that article. Do you want to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
All right. In this article, we're going to be looking at Steve Kerr not sugarcoating Warriors' woes after another blowout loss to the Nets. So the reason we want to talk about this is the Warriors lost by 30 last night and they lost by 38 the night before. So with that being said, DeMarcus, what do you think?
That. I feel like they just need to play better as a team, or players just need to step up on the Warrior squad. And I'm going to get on Draymond again. Like you're supposed to be the leader. I understand like they don't look for you to score that often. However, sometimes you might need to score, or even like try to make a play for your team to get them back in the game, or even like to try to if you see the opposing squad going on a run, either you call a timeout or you pull your guys together and like tell them what they need to do. Because I can have my the leader of my team, even though you're just there for defensive rebounds. I still need you to score at least 10 points for me to get the, especially like if we got young guys around you, just to get them fired up and ready to go. Or like Jordan Poole, he's having a cold night. Tell that man to stop shooting threes and drive it in the lane, or like try to get some mid range going to get him in rhythm and shoot some threes instead of just constantly going out there and chucking them up. Yeah, they all just got to pull themselves together and come together and try to do something while Curry's out. Otherwise, they're not making the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I think this really shows how great Steph Curry really is. As soon as Steph Curry's out, the Warriors can't really do much. And it was that way when he was injured previously, too. When Curry got injured, the
Mm-hmm.
Warriors were one of the worst teams in the league. And then as soon as he came back, they made it to the playoffs. And then they got Klay Thompson back for the playoffs, and they won a championship, all on the back of Steph Curry. So I don't know. I think he's showing he's one of the best players to ever play the game because without Curry, you're just a team that gets blown out by 40 points every night. So I don't know. I think it speaks a lot to Curry's greatness, and I agree that his supporting cast is overrated because of how great he is. He creates, just being on the floor, the amount of attention he draws from defense creates a lot of opportunities for players like Draymond Green and Jordan Poole, and honestly, just the rest of the team altogether. Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins. So I think this really just shows how great Steph Curry is.
Yeah, like all the attention is on him, so of course it's going to be easy for like Jordan Poole to get his shots in and like come and step into some easy open shots. And last night you seen like without Steph Curry, that's not going to be the case. Like you only making one 3 point out of 11 attempts. That's not a good look at all. I mean, sometimes Curry have nights like that, but also he can still get to the lane and score, or even draw the and one fouls. And I think that's what Poole need to do more of, or even like defer to somebody else, like maybe set up some screens to where he can just get like one of those pick and pops.
That's the thing is, who are you
Yeah,
going to run a pick and pop with on the Warriors? They don't even have a big
right.
man. They have James
Yeah,
Wiseman,
nah,
but he's not that pick
I'll
and
do it with Kavon.
pop.
Yeah, I'll do it with Kavon Looney. Like, it ain't got to be a pick and pop, but like, just give me a screen and you roll to the basket and I'm going to give it to you.
All right, you
Or
have a
if they
good
play
point.
under or whatever, yeah, I'll just go for the jumper.
Kayvon Looney's
Yeah,
pretty good at that kind of stuff.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Draymond, he just got to pull those guys together. Like you don't need to yell at them or anything. Just call the huddle, get them together. Like you gotta talk to them, build up their confidence. Because most of these guys are young players, and like getting blew out by the Nets, KD, like that shit it's gonna like kill their confidence. So Draymond, he got to step up and be that leader. Talk to these guys. No more throwing hands, man. No, we don't need you knocking out our players. It's probably why he had flashbacks. That's why he went 1 for 11.
Yeah, for real. I also want to point out that some of this might have to do with the Brooklyn Nets' Royce O'Neal being arguably the best defender in the league this year. So I just wanted to shout out him really quick. He doesn't get a lot of attention in the media, but he is having an outstanding year defensively. So I'm sure that played into this to some degree. So shout out to Royce O'Neal. He's a Denver University graduate, or maybe not graduate, but he started from Denver University too. So all you people from Colorado out there, got to root for Royce O'Neal and the Brooklyn Nets.
Shout out to Mr. O'Neal and those Brooklyn Nets team. They did come out to play last night.
Yeah, I think he's like the only Denver University player that's ever made the NBA. So
that's nice, man.
If it wasn't for him, no one would even know Denver University exists. All right, I think that's our time for this one. Do you want to move on to the last article?
Yeah.
All right, so the next one actually is not an article. We're just going to be taking a look at the standings as the Cleveland Cavaliers beat the Milwaukee Bucks last night in I believe it was a pretty close game. I don't remember the exact score, so don't quote me on that. But with that, DeMarcus, what do you think?
8-point game. Yeah, it was an 8-point game. And like it's a big win for Cleveland as far as like going up against a team like Milwaukee, even if it is the regular season. If you guys face them in the postseason, you still have confidence that you beat them in the regular season, and you know the formula you need to use when you go up against these guys. And just from Milwaukee and Boston, like, hey, we're a team that's here to compete, and we're not going to back down to you guys. And it's a team to watch out for. And it also creates, in my opinion, it creates a three-way tie for first place. Right now in the Eastern Conference, as Milwaukee, Boston, and Cleveland both have, all three has 22 wins. Of course, Cleveland have more losses than more losses than both Boston and Milwaukee. That's why they're in third place right now. But as the season goes on, like I wouldn't be surprised if Cleveland takes that first spot, and that's it to build soccer. I wonder if LeBron would demand a trade to Cleveland to just try to go back, get one more.
I could see it for sure. I hope it doesn't happen. But I have the Cleveland Cavaliers winning the East, and I think I think I made that call when they were 4 games back, so they are moving in the right direction for my view of how things are going to end up at the end of the year. So at this point, I do want to agree with what you said. They all have 22 wins, so this is pretty close to tied, just a matter of losses. So I don't think Milwaukee loses 2 in a row, so there is a differential between the 2 teams, or the 3 teams, but I think the Cleveland Cavaliers are getting their chemistry going. Darius Garland missed the beginning of the season, so him and Donovan Mitchell are getting their chemistry going, figuring out who's going to be running the offense. And Cleveland Cavaliers have beat Boston both games, 2 out of 2 games this year. And I think they've beat Milwaukee twice this year. Don't quote me on that, but I know they won last night, and I think they won once earlier this year too. So I'm pretty sure the Cleveland Cavaliers have the win differential if they tie over Boston and Milwaukee.
So I would like to say, I wouldn't be surprised, or I would like to see Brooklyn come up and take that 1 spot because how they playing so far, and I think they on a 7-game winning streak. And also to note, Brooklyn next game is against Milwaukee, which is tomorrow night, and then they play Cleveland right after they play Milwaukee. So that'd be like 2 games to watch out for. Since both Cleveland and Milwaukee has 22 wins and Brooklyn has 20 wins, and if Brooklyn couldn't like beat both of those teams, that would give Brooklyn 22 wins, and that would put a loss on Milwaukee and Cleveland record, and possibly bring them down in the standings and put Brooklyn up there with them. And Brooklyn, in my opinion, has a pretty easy schedule going forward after they play Cleveland because they have Atlanta, Charlotte, San Antonio, and then Chicago. That's the next 4 games after Cleveland. So I can see Brooklyn possibly continuing down their winning streak and moving up in the standings as well.
Where's the game with Cleveland being played? Is that in Cleveland or in Brooklyn?
1 second, let me go back to it. It's going to be in Cleveland.
All right, check this out. So Cleveland is 16-2 at home, whereas on the road they're 6-9. So I would say probably my guess, Brooklyn has won 9 out of their last 10 games. So law of averages suggests that they're probably going to start losing a couple games here and there because they are on a 7-game winning streak. So
they may lose to the Bucks.
I think they're probably going to lose to the Bucks and the Cavaliers. So, because if you're playing the Cavs at home, like the Cavs are the best home team in the league, record-wise.
I would say that my X factor in that game would be Kyrie Irving. Like if he plays going back to Cleveland, he could have a big game because he's been playing well also lately. Kyrie, I think he's averaging like 26 a game too. So if he play in that game, I believe it would give Brooklyn their chance of winning in Cleveland. And I know that's going to be a close game. Whoever wins or lose.
I would take that a different route. I think Kevin Durant's going to be the X factor because Cleveland doesn't have that wing player that can guard Kevin Durant. So I think he's going to be the one that they need to run through to get buckets on demand. Because if you're asking too much from Kyrie, but I mean like the guards on Cleveland, if you're asking Kyrie to spend everything he has on the offensive end of the floor, he's not going to be able to guard Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell on the other end because he's using all his energy up on the offense, you know? So
no, what I mean by aspect is somebody who's going to who need to also step up and have a big game because we know KD's going to have he's going to get about 30.
What about Royce O'Neal? He's the best defender in the league, so if you can shut down Donovan Mitchell, you know, that would be a huge deal from someone that never gets brought up.
That's a big if, though.
So I think that if we're talking about X factors, you know, because Kyrie Irving isn't really like an iffy type of player, you know, like he shows up and he puts up numbers, you know. So
yeah, no, he's not ball up.
If it's like a legit X factor, I think that would be Royce O'Neal. But I think Kevin Durant's going to be their offensive focus because they can exploit the Cavaliers' lack of wing players, which the Cavaliers need to upgrade at the trade deadline.
Yeah, Kyrie his last 5, he's been putting up 30. Only one game, he only had 24. Everything else was 30 and more.
I still think they lose the next 2 games against Milwaukee and Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Brooklyn to win against Cleveland. I feel like they might lose against Milwaukee. But then again, they probably win.
You're betting against 16-2.
Yeah, right.
That's over 90%.
Milwaukee's just lost to an easy team.
No, that's not over 90%. That's almost 90%.
Mm-hmm.
So, I
don't
know.
That's have to beat Ben Simmons.
About as good of a... There's no such thing as a sure bet, but the probabilities are pretty high that Cleveland wins that game. Because you could, if you're going to say the law of averages against this, you also have to take into consideration the law of averages against the current win streak with Brooklyn, you know? So, I don't know. If anything, I would say Brooklyn probably wins against... If they're going to win one of these 2, I think it would be more likely against the Bucks.
And Cleveland. They won 3 against the Bucks this year.
Didn't the Bucks play last night against Cleveland, right? So, when is the game for Brooklyn? Is that like tonight or tomorrow?
About Milwaukee and Brooklyn?
Yeah.
That's tomorrow, 23rd.
All right, so they'll have a chance to rest up. So, does Brooklyn play tonight?
No, their next game would be the 23rd.
Oh, so they both have a chance to rest up. So
Yeah, 23rd. Then they're going to play again on the 26th, which will be against Cleveland.
oh, so Cleveland's going to be the back-to-back too. So Brooklyn's going to get their ass whooped because it's a back-to-back game in Cleveland on a 9 or a 7 game win streak that could possibly be 8 if they beat Milwaukee. Like
Right.
everything, I don't know. I I might actually put some money on that game just now that we're talking about it. I think the odds sound real nice for Cleveland. Just like everything that we pull up suggests that.
Stay on the 5 game winning streak themselves. Cleveland.
Yeah, but
They're 5-0 in overtime. Like games they go into overtime. Says they're 5-0.
2 of those are against Boston too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so it's
Fucking
not
Boston.
like they're easy teams that they're playing against either.
Mm-hmm. Boston better get it together.
Yeah, they're on a 3-game losing streak, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly think Boston is overhyped. I really don't think they're all that great. Like last year, dude, before everyone got injured in the Eastern Conference in the second half of the year, they were only ranked like 6 or 7 in the East, you know? Like I think
Mm-hmm.
they're just running on fucking extreme confidence at this point. Like
Yeah, they
I
are.
like Jason Tatum, I like fucking Brown, I like some of their players, but I don't think they're a contender, you know? Like I don't see them as a contender.
Yeah, but I don't think they make it back to the finals this year.
Yeah, I don't even think
They
I
might
don't
not
know.
make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
I don't see them making
Like,
it top 2 in the East either. Like I don't see
yeah,
them being
like
better
if,
than Milwaukee or Cleveland.
yeah, because if all the teams that we're talking about right now, or like in the top 5, Milwaukee, Cleveland, Brooklyn, and Philly, if they can all like stay healthy, I don't think Boston.
I
Like
think
who would they face? They
they're
might face Miami if they keep the second seed. Miami keep the 7th. They might play Miami in the first round, and see if Miami might put them out in that first round.
that would be a fun game after what happened last year
Mm-hmm.
in the Eastern Conference Finals. I hope that happens.
Yes, we'll see.
I honestly
Just do
think a
this
healthy
thing.
Miami Heat is better than the Celtics.
I think so too. But I think
Just
they've been dealing with a lot of injuries this year, right? That's why they're so far down.
yeah,
Then, because Jimmy Butler, he be in and out, I think, here and there.
dude, the whole team they got fined $25,000 because
Oh, yeah.
every player on their roster was here. I actually have a screenshot of it just because I thought it was so crazy. Let me.
Yeah, because y'all spoke about that the other day. That's when I went on with y'all. That shit was funny as fuck.
Yeah, you can see screenshot was taken the 16th of December, so this was like about a week
Yeah.
ago.
Mm-hmm.
Every player
They got
on their
that picture.
fucking roster has a red next to their name, except for Jovic. Look at that. There's one player I actually noticed down here, Jovic.
But,
Why is he not getting more playing time? What are you doing, dude? You have fucking Nikola Jovic as your 5th string center, dude. You have him behind Udonis Haslem, injured Udonis Haslem, dude. What the fuck are the Heat
I
thinking?
always get him. Every time I look at his name,
I think it's
I always
Jokic.
think of Nikola Jokic. Yeah. Well, who see he got traded? Oh, I think it's like his
Jovic is a
brother or
good
some
player,
shit.
man. He's a really good player, so I'm surprised he's 5th string on Miami. That doesn't even
This
have
baby
any
Joker.
healthy players. Like, what the fuck, dude?
He might be one of them players then that either he gets, they're not going to re-sign him, he get picked up by another team and he have a good year, or they might trade him and he have a good year on his new team since they giving him more playing time.
Kind of like Bol
Just
Bol.
like his kid.
He's like the Bol of the Miami Heat.
Right?
So,
I sometimes feel like teams, they be having their favorites. Like they already know what guys they want to play, and that's why like some guys on the team or on the roster don't get that much playing time because coaches or whatever, or even like the front office have their picks of who they want to have, who they want to get the playing time to.
well, think about it. Like, you
That
need
kind of sucks.
the management creates the roster, the coach
Mhm.
utilizes the roster. So if you have a disagreement between the general manager and the coach, like, you'll have some great players that don't see playing time. Kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of an example. I'm not thinking of anything off the top of my head, but just, if you're a general manager and you're like, oh, we need some defense, so you go trade and get some defensive players, but the coach is like, no, we don't need defense, we need offense, he's not going to play those defensive players, so it's just, I think that's why you see some of these situations, just a disagreement between managers and coaches, but
yeah, that's why some coaches get fired.
Like, I just, this situation specifically doesn't make any sense. Like, every player on your team is injured, and the one healthy player you're running at fifth string behind a 50-year-old Udonis Haslem. Like, what the fuck? It makes no logical sense to me at all.
Udonis said he's still putting up buckets, that's why.
He's not, though.
He putting up my buckets.
Yeah, pretty much. There you go.
Hey, young fella, you done with that spot? I need to clean it up right there.
Like the fucking person that wipes up the sweat. Right. That little like mop they do, like the little square around the free throw line.
Yeah. What this shit.
I mean, it's cool to see him on the roster, but it's not cool to see him ahead of Jovic on the depth chart. So
yeah, because I just saw him as a bench leader, like just that leader they need on the bench.
Yeah, I really like Udonis Haslem, so don't get me wrong as I don't like him, but I like Jovic too, and I think if I want to win games, I'm going to fucking have Jovic playing more minutes than Haslem, Like, that just seems obvious to me. Because like you're saying, Haslem is meant to be on the fucking bench talking to people. Like, that's what he's supposed to be doing.
For real, like, you just put him in a suit and tie and just name him an assistant coach or something.
Yeah, like, if you don't believe in Jovic, you need to develop him. What is a better time when your whole team is injured and you're expecting to lose anyway,
Yeah, or just trade him. Like, let that man play.
Yeah, or, like, trade your pick beforehand, Like, when they picked Jovic, there were a whole bunch of good players. You still could have got Ismail Kamagate, too. Kamagate? Swishmail Kamaswate. That's his new nickname. Dude, the best nickname of all. Yeah, Swishmail, too. His real name is Ishmael Kamagate. Yeah. So his nickname is Swishmail Kamaswate. And our channel was... Yeah, our channel was actually part of the creation of that nickname. In fucking collaboration, maybe not collaboration, but we were going back and forth on Twitter with Denver Sports. So you can, I don't know, maybe we'll be talking about how we were part of the creation of that nickname 10 years down the road.
Maybe he'll give us a shout out.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, we pieced together several nicknames that were suggested in the comments, and everyone liked the one that we pieced together. So I didn't have any great ideas. I just saw some great ideas and pieced them together.
Right. You brought them all together like the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, I mean, you passed on him, and he's like hanging with Victor Wembanyama in France. Like,
oh, yeah?
He's a hell of a player. He's just going to be real good at defense. Like, kind of reminds me of like a Rudy Gobert type of player. Maybe not the best screen player. Like, he's not as good at the screen and roll as Rudy Gobert, but when it comes to defense, he's that defensive anchor like Rudy Gobert. So I can't wait to see him start in the NBA next year for the Nuggets. But, like, as the Heat, you could have traded that pick, and there's so many good players available that you could have got some value for that pick. Mm-hmm. That's my point. After that rant.
And also, like, I would say also, I believe, like that if you're not giving him playing time, you also, you kind of handicapping him as far as, like, other teams scouting him if they want to, like, make a trade for him or to value him in the free agency, how much they want to pay for him, and, like, what he can do to the team. Because if he's not getting no playing time, that means they can't see what he could do on the court. Like, all you're going to go off of is, like, what he could do in practice. And, like, we don't want to know what he could do in practice. We want to know what he could do in certain situations when he's out there playing. Like, if we're in the fourth quarter, like, with 2 minutes left, tied at 3 points, like, what's his master? What he's going to do in this situation? Or what offense can we run him in? And by him not playing, or, like, maybe saying, like, 1 to 2 minutes a night, it's not enough to go on for a team to even say, okay, we could make a trade for him, but we're not giving up anything good. or if we're going to go after him in free agency, we're not going to get him like a big contract because we just don't know what we're going to get out of him.
It's kind of like Bol. Like with the Nuggets, they were trying to
Yeah.
trade Bol, but no one wanted to trade for Bol because no one knew what he was going to produce. You know,
Right.
everyone knew that Coach Malone refused to play him because he was so bad at defense. So that's all you knew. But so you
That's
couldn't
making
even
a mark.
you couldn't even get a taker on a trade. Like no one was even. I think someone like offered like a second round pick or something for him. You know, like the Celtics that we tried to trade for originally. But now that he's with the Magic, you know, like you probably could easily get a first round pick for him if you tried to trade, just because of how
Yeah,
well he's
because
played.
like if you just say he's bad at defense, that means okay, he's bad at defense. But what else can he do? But like if we see him play, like okay, yeah, he's bad at defense, but we could work on that because he could get us some offense. But like in practice or during training camp, we could work on his defense and like what he need to improve on, whether it be like his defensive stance, his footwork, him like rolling to the rim to contest the shot. Those type of things we could like work with, knowing that he could get us like maybe 15 to 20 points a game with like maybe 6 or 7 rebounds a game. Like we can live with him not being good at defense because we could actually bring somebody in to help him work on that.
You know what I just
But
thought
if you
of?
just what's up?
Imagine Bol to Minnesota to play with fucking Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert's like the best on-ball defender in the league, whereas Bol's like one of the better off-ball defenders, to where he can slide over and help side. You know, like
Yeah.
if he's on help, he's got the length to like block a shot. You know, if he just like takes one step over into the lane. You know, so if you paired that with Rudy Gobert, because you can take
Hopefully that could
Bol
work.
out of the lane too. You know, so he would be out of the lane and he wouldn't be clogging it up like Karl Anthony Towns is. Dude,
Yeah,
I think
that
that
probably
would
work
be
better than Towns.
that would be a hell of a fit right there. That would be a lot of fun to watch. And I think you could
And yeah,
probably
what
get
Towns
some,
would be?
yeah, really good trade value for Towns too.
Yeah, but so what Towns would be in Orlando then? Him and Banchero, and then possibly like a top 5 pick for next year.
You still don't have
That'd be
the
nice for the
defense.
Magic.
I feel like
Say it
the
again.
I feel like the Magic would be the new Timberwolves from last year. Like, you got all these really good players, but you just can't make anything out of it because no one plays defense.
Right.
So I don't know. It'd be interesting. I think it would work out better for the Timberwolves, fit wise.
Yeah, then real quick, so we just touched on the Western Conference.
Oh, we're already at 20 minutes on this.
The West. Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, I'm gonna keep this one quick. The
Oh.
West is like we might edit all this shit out anyway to keep it under 5. The West is I would say from 1 to 6 is like wide open. Since like the top team has 19 wins and then the 6th place team or even the 7th place team has 17 wins. But the Utah Jazz have 18 wins at 8. So the West is like fucking wide open. I would say from 1 to 11, pretty much. But that's all I was going to say on that.
I was gonna say 1 to 10. That's within 4 games.
1 to 10.
Yeah, I don't know. The Warriors are like they're in contention.
Yeah,
they're
they're
more
going to be losing. They're going to bad.
they're more contending with the Thunder and the Lakers than they are contending with the top 10 teams.
Dude, imagine if they slide down and get that 1 pick and get Wembanyama.
I don't
Or what if
know.
they make some what if they make some trades for like if they can get into like that top 10 first round pick, and then they could make a trade for like that top pick, like give up their whatever pick they get, and like maybe I would say Jordan Poole or what some of the young players for that top pick.
I don't think that's
I
a
can see
good
that,
fit.
or even Wiseman, because they got Kuminga, he's good, or they can give up Wiseman and that top pick, and maybe even a future round draft pick.
Wembanyama needs the ball in his hands, though. So you're gonna have Curry with the ball in his hands.
And we
So
gonna bring a man, we gonna develop him to work off the ball, because that's what Golden State is all about.
yeah, but basically you're giving up your whole team to bring in someone to fill in a spot that all you're asking them to do is stand on the 3-point line and shoot threes. You know, like you
Well,
can get that
you
from
can
someone
cut.
else.
You better run around like Steph and Clay be doing, or like
Except he's
take a
7'6".
hard dive to the lane.
You know, like how fast are you really gonna cut? You
Yeah.
know, at 7'6".
That's all. Hey, put his ass in that pick and roll.
Except he's
I
skinny.
got
Like
development.
he's like bull skinny. Like he's not gonna be able to set a good screen. That's not like his game, you know.
It could be a slip screen. It don't got to be a hard screen. Just be a slip screen. Just get
But
in the
if
way.
like the only reason
Just
slip
slow the
screens
defender down.
work is because
Take
real
off.
screens work. You know, it's like you run the
Mm-hmm.
slip after you've had a successful normal pick and roll a few times, and they start like overplaying the normal pick and roll. That's why you run the slip is to
Or even like
get
you
them
know how
shooting.
Draymond be doing it, where he'll fake the handoff on the like he'll have the ball. Steph will be like running towards him, and he kind of like set a screen, even though he got the ball, and he'll fake the handoff, and of course the defenders run a play. I mean, run the Steph, and Draymond will take off to the lane. I'll do that shit with Wembanyama, or pick and pop his ass. He can shoot the ball, right?
Yeah, but you're giving up like a whole bunch of you're giving up a whole bunch of assets for someone to basically run a pick and pop.
I said maybe 2 players plus a draft pick.
I don't know. I don't think
I mean, the
it's
team they got now
worth it.
is not really doing it without Steph. Because we
Yeah,
thought
but
Jordan Poole would be the next Steph when Steph is out, and we seen like he's not ready to step into that role.
why is Klay Thompson so good? Because he's able to just stand on the 3-point line and knock shots down better than
And he's
anyone else in the NBA. You know, like
He's a defensive player also.
yeah. So he fits the 3 and D role better than anyone else in the NBA. So pairing
He
him
be,
next
he
to
be
Steph
slashing
Curry
to
is a
the
good
he be
fit.
slashing to the basket too.
But you get what I'm saying? Like that's his job is to shoot threes and defend. And that's
Mm-hmm.
you know, he doesn't need the ball in his hands. Like you can have the ball in Steph Curry's hands and he's just an outlet for when they overplay Steph Curry on defense. You know, like he's a way to punish overplaying Steph Curry. Whereas a Wembanyama is more of like we need to get him the ball so that he can like make plays and it takes the ball out of Curry's hands. You know, like the
Yeah,
same
but
thing
that's
with
what
Wiseman. Wiseman has the same problem. He needs the ball in his hands. He was a first overall pick, right?
First, I think he was the second pick.
Oh, but
I
all right,
think the Warriors had the second pick that year.
he's a top 5 pick in the NBA, you know, and he's
Yeah.
in and out of the G League because he can't do anything, you know, and it's not because he doesn't have talent. It's just because the Warriors don't play
Yeah,
a game that can utilize his skill set with
But my
Curry
thing
as the
is,
primary handler.
like that's what coaches are for, and training camps.
So-
And even like when players in the off season, like if you on this team and you know like you're not gonna have the ball in your hand, I go out there and practice on working without the ball. Like work on your game, like off ball movement or like being in the right place. That's what the coaches need to do with these players, and then that's what the players need to do during the off season. Like just get a coach that can help them with that type of stuff instead of just thinking like I need the ball at all times. Pretty much like what Carmelo Anthony was doing, what we was just recently talking about. How he don't want to like pretty much give up the ball. He want to keep the ball. So like develop the player to work off the ball and like
But they
like
have other
improve
players that are
their
good at
game.
that. Like you don't have to give up half your team to get Wembanyama to train him to be something different than he is. Like you could literally just go in the free agency and pick someone up like that for like a veteran minimum contract, you know? You
Yeah,
get
but I'd rather get that rookie money out first for like the first 4 years.
dude, veteran minimum is less than a top draft pick. Like Victor
So I want
Wembanyama
the
would,
veteran minimum because that
Vet-
man is not going to get no playing time. So I'm paying him the veteran minimum
no,
just to
veteran
let
minimum
him play
can
like
get
5 minutes a game. Huh?
veteran minimum definitely can get playing time. Like there's
No. With the Warriors barely play their team. All they playing is Steph, Dre, and like the starters pretty much. The bench is barely getting any playing time
yeah,
unless you're
but
having good games.
you're just looking for a role player. Like all you're looking to do is have him shoot threes and cut. You know, like
yeah, but like
you can get that from Royce O'Neal. Like the Brooklyn Nets just picked up someone that does that better than anyone else in the league for like $5 million
But like
a year.
with the Warriors, are they going to play this man more than 5 minutes? Because like sometimes I be looking at like they players, how much time they played, and it be games where like their bench play like barely 5 minutes for each player. They barely get 5 minutes in the game.
That's because the
And
talented
they just
players
suck. They suck at time management.
they have talented players, but their talented players don't fit into their system. And the ones that do fit into their system aren't talented. So it's just like
But like,
you don't have a way to do anything without Steph Curry because it just
but
doesn't
like
fit
that's
into your offense.
it's the same thing with the Lakers. It's their fault for putting that team together. Then, like, why not go out and, like you just said, go
I
out and free
agree.
agency and get the players who can fit into that system
That's
to where they
actually
could be more.
that's my point. Is bringing on or going all out to get a Victor Wembanyama would be like the Lakers going all out to get a Russell Westbrook. You know, it just you can get that big name, but if it doesn't fit into your system, you're gonna end up losing still. You know, so
Yeah,
that's my
yeah.
point with Victor
Because I
Wembanyama.
think I feel like the best Warriors team was that 2015 team because they had a good ass bench and a solid starting five. And that bench players, like you said, they knew their role and they performed it well.
And I
That was their
think
best team, and they
that
got rid of
really
all
makes
of
the
them.
difference. And like that's what Pop says, Popovich too. You know, like it's not about like the plays or any of that. It's about how you can get your players to mesh together and play off each other. You know.
Hmm.
So I
And
think
had like
that's my
a
point.
mix of young players and a mix of veterans.
Yeah, and just like players who complement each other's skill set. You know, like
Yeah,
I
because
think
they all can shoot threes.
The Lakers really were the exact opposite of how that should be played. You
The
know.
Lakers, they screwed the pooch.
Let's just get a whole bunch of players that can't shoot the ball that just go full steam ahead
Right.
on fucking. I guess
Real
LeBron.
stupid.
You get what I'm saying?
They,
Just like
they probably was thinking, probably came into the meeting. Hey, you guys heard about this Victor Wembanyama guy? Let's just tank this year and try to get him. Then 2 months later, oh shit, I forgot we traded that pick away to New Orleans.
yeah, that's crazy. They don't even have their pick. They're like the Denver Broncos of the NBA.
Right? Fucking man.
Shit show of a franchise this year.
Yeah, yeah.
But
They better do better next year.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to think. I think trades or free agency or big moves will happen over the next 365 days.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it definitely will.
I hope you guys enjoyed the content today and hope you guys enjoy some good basketball games tonight. I believe there's only 2 games tonight, so not too much going on, but nonetheless, hope you guys enjoyed and have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next episode of the Game of Inches Basketball News.